Know that as much as we have now the reign of King Charles and Queen Consort Camilla, the future is William and Kate.
And their
He could already tell how the situation would unfold before Camilla even stepped into the hallway. Every document had been checked from top to bottom. Every instruction had been updated. Every possible path that could have changed Princess Charlotte's future had already been closed, quietly, carefully, and for good. So when Queen Camilla appeared carrying a sealed folder and reached toward Princess Charlotte, Prince William didn't look surprised for even a second. He had been expecting this exact moment. There was no hesitation. There was no debate. William calmly stepped between them, met Camilla's eyes, and delivered 5 unforgettable words that cut through every layer of palace tradition. "I will take my daughter." Those 5 words echoed through the palace far louder than anyone expected. What followed reportedly left senior figures stunned, and the effects of that calm refusal continued to spark conversations behind palace walls. For many, it became the day Camilla reportedly discovered that even the highest royal titles have limits. Earlier that day, Windsor Castle looked like the perfect place for a peaceful family gathering. The historic residence, known around the world as one of the monarchy's most famous homes, was filled with laughter instead of ceremony. There were no formal speeches, no state occasions, and no cameras following every step. It was simply a chance for the family to spend time together away from public attention. The castle gardens looked beautiful under the afternoon sun. Light filtered through the trees, birds sang across the lawns, and children raced happily between the flower beds. Picnic blankets were spread across the grass, drinks were set out, and relaxed conversations replaced the usual palace formalities. For a little while, everyone seemed able to forget the constant pressures that normally surround royal life. At the center of the gathering were Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, and their 3 children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. George naturally took charge of the games, showing the quiet confidence many people often notice in him. Louis brought endless energy, running from one activity to another with a grin that kept everyone smiling. Charlotte moved through the gardens with her usual calm confidence, chatting easily with her brothers and the other children while drawing attention with her cheerful personality. Catherine looked completely at ease as she watched over the children. Without photographers following every move, she simply enjoyed being a mother. Every so often, she glanced toward William, who was standing nearby in conversation with King Charles. William occasionally looked back toward the children to make sure everything was fine before returning to his discussion. It was one of those rare moments when the family appeared able to relax without the constant spotlight. Camilla was also present with members of her own family. Alongside her were her granddaughters, Lola Parker Bowles and Eliza Lopes, who had gradually become more familiar faces at royal family gatherings over recent years. Although they are not working royals, they had attended several important family occasions, making this informal day another opportunity for everyone to spend time together. Everything appeared completely peaceful. The gardens were quiet, conversations were light-hearted, and nothing suggested the afternoon would soon become the center of intense speculation. Yet, beneath that calm surface, events were already moving toward a confrontation that few could have imagined. What looked like an ordinary family afternoon would soon become remembered for an entirely different reason. To understand why the reported disagreement became so significant, supporters of this story point to claims surrounding a private legal arrangement connected to the Cedar estate. According to the narrative, the estate was said to exist outside both the Crown Estate and the Duchy of Cornwall through a separate private trust established several years earlier. The reports describe this arrangement as a covenant trust allegedly created in 2020, with documents said to have been witnessed by senior legal advisors connected to the late Queen. According to these claims, the trust included a delayed activation clause that would only take effect after 2 separate milestones had been reached: the completion of Queen Elizabeth II's state funeral and Prince William's public recognition as heir to major institutional responsibilities. According to the reported wording, once those conditions had been satisfied, guardianship of the Cedar estate would immediately transfer to the Prince of Wales. The statement allegedly declared, under the terms of the sealed covenant trust executed by Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in 2020, the property known as the Cedar Estate shall pass in full and exclusive guardianship to His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, effective immediately. If accurate, the language left little room for interpretation and suggested the decision was intended to be final. That is where the story reportedly shifted away from property and toward personal conflict. The disagreement was no longer about legal paperwork. It became a question of influence, responsibility, and who would help shape Princess Charlotte's future role within the monarchy. According to the claims, the most important exchange happened behind closed doors, without aides or senior officials present. Camilla reportedly entered carrying revised trust documents, while William waited beside a table where Charlotte's file had already been opened. Unlike public engagements where protocol usually softened every interaction, there was nothing separating them except paperwork and a decision waiting to be made. Camilla reportedly placed the updated documents on the table and rested her hand on top of them. According to the account, her name had been removed from every section connected to Charlotte's future guidance, including sponsorship responsibilities, ceremonial planning, and advisory arrangements. She looked at William and quietly asked, "Was I ever meant to be told?" William reportedly closed the file with complete composure before answering, "You were meant to respect the boundary." Those words reportedly made it clear that, from his perspective, the issue was no longer about differing opinions, but about parental authority and clearly defined limits. Camilla reportedly argued that her many years supporting the monarchy had earned her the opportunity to help guide the next generation. She believed excluding her entirely weakened the traditional position held by the monarch's wife within royal life. William, according to the story, remained firm. He reportedly replied that Charlotte was not someone to be positioned or claimed in order to strengthen anyone else's future standing within the institution. Camilla then maintained that her intentions had always been to protect the young princess. William reportedly leaned forward and answered with another short sentence that immediately changed the tone of the conversation. "Protection begins by asking her parents." Those words reportedly ended the discussion, leaving the room completely silent. Then came another claim that reportedly complicated everything even further. Camilla allegedly revealed that King Charles had, during a private conversation years earlier, encouraged her to provide continuity for George and Charlotte if the monarchy ever entered a difficult period. She apparently believed those conversations supported the advisory role she hoped to hold in the future. William reportedly responded with a direct question: had the king formally approved the trust proposal itself? According to the account, Camilla did not give a clear answer. William reportedly interpreted that silence as significant. After she left, he is said to have requested a review of palace instructions connected to either Camilla's authority or any informal guidance attributed to the king. If those reports are accurate, the issue had grown into something much larger than a disagreement over paperwork. It had become a question about where private conversations ended and official authority truly began. While those reported discussions remained behind palace walls, another moment during the family gathering quickly drew attention. As the children continued playing together in the gardens, what had started as harmless fun suddenly took an emotional turn. According to accounts circulating online, Princess Charlotte became upset after a conversation with Camilla's granddaughter, Eliza Lopes. The exchange reportedly began with a playful remark about Charlotte's curtsy or the way she was presenting herself. At first, nobody thought much of it. Children often tease each other during games, but according to the story, the comments soon became far more personal. Eliza was reported to have said, "Your mummy is just pretending to be queen. Mine is the actual one." Those words reportedly caught everyone off guard. Whether intended as childish teasing or something else, the remark was said to have deeply upset Charlotte because it appeared to question both her mother and Catherine's future position within the monarchy. According to the account, Charlotte's expression changed immediately. The confident young princess reportedly became visibly emotional, her face turning red before she burst into tears. She quickly ran into her mother's arms, looking shaken and deeply hurt. What had begun as a relaxed afternoon in the gardens suddenly became one of the most emotional moments anyone present was said to have witnessed. For a family often seen as calm, polished, and impossible to shake, the scene felt surprisingly emotional. Princess Charlotte, frequently praised by royal watchers for her confidence and composure, was now in tears after hearing words that had clearly hurt her feelings. Catherine, Princess of Wales, immediately saw the change in her daughter and rushed to comfort her without hesitation. Her instincts as a mother took over immediately. She wrapped Charlotte tightly in her arms, whispered reassuring words, and gently tried to calm her. Even though Catherine remained outwardly composed, those nearby could reportedly sense that she was deeply upset. From her perspective, this was no longer just children arguing during a family gathering. It had suddenly become something much more personal. Not far away, Prince William had been speaking with King Charles when he noticed the sudden change in the atmosphere. He looked toward Catherine and Charlotte and immediately realized something was wrong. Seeing his daughter crying in her mother's arms instantly changed his focus. Ending his conversation without delay, he walked directly toward them, concern written across his face. "What happened?" William reportedly asked, his voice calm but firm. Catherine quietly explained what had taken place, repeating the comments that had reportedly upset Charlotte. As William listened, his expression reportedly became much more serious. Those who described the incident claim it was obvious he viewed the situation as far more significant than an ordinary disagreement between children. His attention shifted completely toward making sure his daughter felt safe and supported. According to the story, William made it clear through his actions that protecting his family came first. Whatever had happened, he was not prepared to simply ignore it. The relaxed atmosphere that had filled the gardens only moments earlier was now gone, replaced by a growing sense that the afternoon was heading toward an uncomfortable confrontation few people had expected. Around the same time, another story began circulating about an unusual moment near one of the palace entrances. For years, arrivals at royal residences had followed a familiar routine. Gates opened, guests entered, and everything moved with quiet efficiency. Nothing about the process usually attracted attention. But according to this account, one arrival unfolded very differently. As the gates stood partly open, Camilla's daughter reportedly approached with the confidence of someone expecting to continue without interruption. There was nothing dramatic about her walk. She appeared calm, composed, and entirely certain that entry would happen as it always had. Then, according to the story, Princess Charlotte unexpectedly stepped forward. Witnesses describing the moment claim Charlotte calmly positioned herself in front of the entrance. She didn't appear frightened or confused. She simply stood still, directly in the path ahead. Her posture reportedly remained steady, and she showed no sign of uncertainty. It wasn't described as playful behavior or childish wandering. Instead, observers interpreted it as an unusually deliberate moment. The atmosphere reportedly shifted almost instantly. Conversation slowed. Several people turned to watch. For a few seconds, nobody seemed completely sure what would happen next. Camilla's daughter reportedly paused, seemingly surprised by the unexpected situation. Like others nearby, she may have assumed Charlotte would simply step aside after a brief moment. But according to those accounts, that never happened. Charlotte reportedly remained exactly where she was. She didn't look behind her for guidance. She didn't appear nervous. She didn't move aside. Instead, she continued standing quietly, creating an unexpected pause that gradually became impossible for everyone nearby to ignore. As the silence continued, the moment reportedly began to take on greater symbolic meaning for those watching. What could easily have been dismissed as an awkward misunderstanding instead started being interpreted as something more deliberate. Whether or not that interpretation was accurate, many observers believed the pause carried a message that went beyond a simple delay at the gate. Charlotte's calm demeanor reportedly became one of the most talked about parts of the story. Rather than reacting emotionally, she was described as remaining composed throughout the encounter. That quiet confidence was what many people found most striking. According to the reports, it didn't feel impulsive. It looked controlled, measured, and unusually composed for someone so young. Around them, members of the household reportedly exchanged uncertain looks. Some appeared to think the tension would disappear within seconds and everyone would laugh it off. Others remained completely still, sensing the atmosphere had become noticeably more serious. Whatever anyone believed, it was clear something unusual was unfolding before their eyes. Meanwhile, Camilla's daughter reportedly found herself in an increasingly awkward position. Her earlier confidence appeared to give way to hesitation as she waited, unsure whether to continue forward or remain where she was. According to the account, Charlotte never changed her position, remaining calm and steady throughout the entire exchange. Supporters of the story later argued that the gate itself had become more than just an entrance. They viewed it as representing questions about boundaries, influence, and authority inside the royal household. Whether or not that interpretation reflected reality, the moment quickly became one of the most discussed parts of the broader narrative because it appeared to symbolize much more than where someone was standing. As that silence lingered, attention soon shifted back to Prince William. The moment William reportedly saw Charlotte crying in Catherine's arms, his priorities changed completely. This was no longer simply about children arguing during a family gathering. From his perspective, his daughter had been deeply upset, and he wanted to understand exactly why. According to the reports, William immediately approached members of staff. "What happened here?" he reportedly asked in a firm but controlled voice. Staff members, according to the account, explained what they understood had happened. They repeated the remarks reportedly made by Eliza Lopes, including the statement, "Your mummy is just pretending to be queen. Mine is the actual one." Hearing those words reportedly reinforced William's belief that Charlotte had been genuinely hurt by the exchange. Observers describing the incident say William remained calm but visibly serious. His focus, according to those reports, stayed entirely on Charlotte and making sure she felt protected. Rather than reacting emotionally in public, he reportedly chose to gather information before deciding what, if anything, should happen next. The story then claims William requested a private meeting with senior palace staff to discuss the situation further. According to these reports, the conversation centered on maintaining respectful behavior during future family events and ensuring similar situations could be avoided. Those involved allegedly discussed expectations surrounding conduct and how disagreements involving children should be handled if they occurred again. Some versions of the story go much further, claiming William considered major consequences involving future invitations and participation in certain royal family occasions. However, those specific claims have never been publicly confirmed and remain the subject of ongoing speculation. Even so, the reports suggest William wanted to send a clear message that respect for every member of the family, especially the children, should remain a priority. According to those accounts, the entire episode left William thinking less about palace tradition and more about his responsibilities as a father. Whatever discussions may have taken place afterward, supporters of the story argue his main concern was making sure Charlotte felt supported, protected, and confident after an emotional afternoon that no one had expected. Disrespecting his children would not be tolerated. The decision was bold, but William believed it was necessary. He wasn't afraid to take a stand, even if it meant challenging long-standing royal traditions. When it came to protecting his family, there were no compromises. His determination to stand by Charlotte led to one of the most significant decisions of his royal life. The silence revealed everything. The stillness at the gate didn't fade. Instead, it grew heavier, turning into something far more uncomfortable than anyone expected. What started as a brief interruption quickly became the center of everyone's attention. Camilla's daughter, who had approached with quiet confidence, suddenly found herself facing an unexpected situation. At first, the change was subtle. A slight pause, a small shift in expression. In the carefully controlled world of the royal family, even tiny reactions can stand out. She adjusted her posture and appeared ready to continue forward, seemingly expecting the situation to resolve itself. But it didn't. Princess Charlotte stayed exactly where she was. She didn't step aside. She didn't look uncertain. If anything, her calm confidence became even more noticeable. A faint smile crossed Charlotte's face. It wasn't mocking or playful. It simply suggested she understood the importance of the moment. The silence between them became impossible to ignore. Around them, conversation stopped as everyone quietly watched what was happening. Camilla's daughter hesitated again, trying to regain her composure. The longer the moment lasted, the more uncomfortable it appeared to become. Across from her, Charlotte remained completely calm. No hesitation, no uncertainty, just quiet confidence. The contrast was striking. One side expected the situation to change, the other never moved. Without raised voices or dramatic gestures, the moment became symbolic. The gate remained closed, the silence remained unbroken, and the reactions seemed to speak louder than words ever could. In a world shaped by protocol, one silent moment appeared to reveal more than titles ever could. But did that quiet exchange expose something much bigger? Keep watching. Now step back from the legal documents and property details for a moment and ask the bigger question. Why would Queen Elizabeth reportedly believe this level of protection was necessary? Throughout her reign, she was known for choosing restraint over confrontation. She rarely acted without careful thought. If stories about these legal arrangements are true, supporters believe they reflected concerns about protecting the monarchy's future rather than reacting to short-term disagreements. According to this narrative, she believed the institution should always come before personal ambition or commercial interests. Rather than making public accusations, she reportedly relied on carefully prepared legal arrangements and long-term planning to safeguard what she believed mattered most. Supporters of this story argue she trusted William because of his dedication to royal history and public service. They also believe she saw in Charlotte a quiet sense of responsibility, someone willing to protect tradition without seeking attention. Whether those claims are accurate remains open to interpretation, but they form the emotional heart of this story. The inheritance described here was never just about land or property. According to the narrative, it represented responsibility, trust, and the duty to protect something larger than yourself. That idea, supporters say, cannot simply be measured by wealth or titles. On the morning of February 3, 2026, according to these reports, another chapter of royal history quietly unfolded. There were no grand ceremonies or dramatic announcements. Instead, decisions were reflected through legal documents, administrative changes, and private actions rather than public celebrations. William reportedly focused on his family instead of making public statements. He spent time with his children, answered their questions about history, and continued preparing them for the responsibilities ahead. Charlotte, according to the story, continued learning the traditions she had been trusted to carry forward. Whether every detail of this account is accurate or not, its central message remains the same. Lasting legacies are built not only through titles or inheritance, but through character, responsibility, and keeping promises across generations. According to supporters of this narrative, those are the values Queen Elizabeth hoped would guide the monarchy's future. If this story moved you, share it with someone who appreciates the difference between legacy and ambition.